When we looked at the top 5 best states for drivers, we really saw here that a lot of them are located in the Midwest. And I don't think that's really a coincidence here because the Midwest, is not as densely populated as, say, some of these West Coast, these East Coast states that didn't do so well in our rankings. We've known for a very long time that living in a state that's very densely packed is affecting someone's driving experience. We looked at 50 states and we wanted to determine what kind of driving experience individuals who live there have. And we looked at 4 main factors when we constructed our rankings. We weighted cost really as the most important factor when determining whether a state is the best for drivers or the worst. And I think a lot of the reason why here is because if you can't afford gasoline, if you can't afford your auto insurance premium, you really can't afford to operate a car. But number 1, we saw that Ohio took the top spot for the best states for drivers. They're paying the second lowest auto insurance premium. They also have some of the lowest DUI arrests in the nation. I think what this illustrates here is that it's a very safe drive. It's a very quick drive, thankfully, and relatively low cost, which all of these factors kind of add up into influencing how much you pay in insurance. The second best state for drivers was Iowa, and we saw a lot of the same reasons as Ohio why it did so well. It's relatively low costs, relatively good driving quality. I think what stands out about Iowa is the fact that it has the second best commute time in the country for drivers who live in this state. Utah was one of the top 10 best states for driving quality, weather, and safety. So all of these 3 factors help influence what made Utah fare so well in our rankings. I think when we kind of zoom in on the weather here, what's really interesting is the fact that people who live in Utah, they experience just about 15 inches of rain per year, and that was really one of the lowest states. It was tied with Montana and New Mexico for the 4th lowest in the country. And so when you're looking at your driving experience overall, that weather is a pretty big factor. I think what stood out here in the safety measure was that it had low DUI arrest per population, 11th lowest arrests for motor vehicle thefts. I think all of these things really add up to boast a pretty good driving experience for people who live in Indiana. The 5th best state for drivers was Idaho, and that's mostly because these drivers had a really good driving quality. It was the lowest percentage of roads in poor condition of any state. So I think, again, kind of what we were talking about with the bottom 5, there's all kinds of trade-offs that drivers have to make. And I think it's really important to look at a list like this because transportation is such a major cost component of a household's budget. So all of these things really impact our wallets over time.
Invest in you. Ready, set, grow. CNBC and Acorns.